Hello there. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi. It's such a joy to come your way this beautiful Monday morning. How has your weekend been? I believe you've had a good time. I did. I had a very wonderful weekend. Activity full, but they were fun activities that I'm so glad to be a part of. So everybody out there, thank you. Thank you for connecting with me this beautiful morning. Thank you for being a part of this program. Thank you for giving me a share of your time. Like I will always say, like the video, share it. Let people out there know there's something called Knocks to Nuggets. And let me have your feedback. Your feedback is always so good. Last week, we started on drug abuse, and we are going to continue today on drug abuse. We had a darling sister, friend, niece in the house talking to us about drug abuse, and she's back again today. So today we are continuing with a public health physician. She's a member of the West African College of Physicians and the Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria. Her interest in healthcare quality led her to become a member of the International Society for Quality in Healthcare, and she's a quality practitioner with the Chartered Quality Institute, United Kingdom. She's currently a senior registrar in the Department of Community Health, Luth. Such a delight talking to her. Please help me welcome again Dr. Damilola Mati. Hey!
Thank you very much, Ma.
Good to have you back. It was so good being
Thank
with you
you.
last week. Huh.
It's good to be here as well. Thank you so much.
We are back again on drug abuse. Last week was interesting. You said something that every drug is poison, and you said you should always seek your doctor's counsel. We talked about quite a number of things. I'm trying to do a little recap. I'll encourage everybody. The video is still right there on YouTube. Please just go back and watch the part one of this edition to catch everything. You don't want to miss anything. But one of the things we talked about was the supplements and the fact that because of the decline in disposable income, a lot of people are getting used to community, how did I put it last week now? Community consultation. So what happened to A compares with what's happening to B, and A gives B what his or her drugs were for what looks similar. Or we said something last week. The fact that you have a fever does not mean you have malaria.
Yeah.
When you look at it and say, oh, running temperature or have a headache, it must be malaria. You might just find out that it's not malaria. So we tried as much as possible to discourage hormonal consultation.
Yeah.
But one of the things we didn't talk about last week, which is where I want us to start today, is the energy drinks.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people will tell you, oh, when I get tired, I don't want to call brands here. I just take this energy drink, that energy drink, this energy drink. Those energy drinks, do they have any side effects?
Thank you again for having me on the show. Yes, the energy drinks do have some side effects.
Really?
I know that a lot of people use energy drinks as a pick me up, but or to wake up or to feel more active or to concentrate better or actually to even keep awake to do some work. But yes, they do have side effects.
Wow.
The drinks contain a lot of caffeine, so that's where the side effects come from.
A lot of caffeine. But
Yes, a whole
caffeine,
lot of caffeine.
what's the effect of caffeine on the body? If I may ask, I really want to understand. Caffeine could be like cocoa, could be like milk. It's another product.
Yes, caffeine is another product. It's present in coffee. A lot of us enjoy drinking coffee, but as with everything, should be done in moderation. So, the side effects of caffeine would include. So you take the energy drinks high in caffeine. Sometimes they could cause palpitations. That is when you can hear your heart beating and it's beating really fast. They can cause palpitations. They can cause insomnia, that is, people not being able to sleep at all. So while they have the effect of increasing energy and making people more alert, by the same token, they also have the effect of increasing your your heart rate increases. That causes the palpitations that I talked about. And then you may have lack of sleep, headaches, abdominal pains, abdominal cramps for some people. And eventually there's a lot. Sometimes eventually they over time this can lead to heart diseases, heart problems over
Wow.
time. Yes.
Wow. Energy drinks can over time lead to heart diseases.
Over time when consumed in very high quantities.
In very high quantity. So for those of us who love energy drinks, who live on energy drinks, who have them as the go-to when you're getting stressed out, please beware. I mean, palpitation, insomnia, heart
Yeah.
condition, they're not things you want in your life,
Yeah.
particularly as you
Not
grow
at all.
older.
Not at all.
So is
So
it
the
only
thing
the
with energy drinks, sorry, I'm listening, ma'am.
only the heart that this affects?
No, it's not only the heart. So eventually, that's the thing. It's not only the heart that it affects. It affects, so like I said, it causes lack of sleep. And when you cannot sleep, you can then now begin to have headaches. You can begin to have mood problems. You know, when you don't sleep, you become cranky and all that. So there are mood problems with poor sleep, you know.
Okay.
And then there are other things. So the mood problems and the headaches and the fatigue will then cause you to become slower. So
Mm,
while you took them
to
to
be
get
faster.
that pick me up and yes, to be faster and all that, you can then have the headaches and the mood swings and all that now then become,
Take it
yes,
slower.
takes you to the other side. It's like the adverse effects of it, yes. So those are the so that is on your central nervous system. There's also irritability, there's nervousness. Of course, people can become short-tempered, they can begin to have tremors. Like I said, on the heart, increased
Increase-
heartbeat, tachycardia, and then, like I said, on the GIT, you have upset stomachs as well. So, and if you keep going on and on and on, vomiting, abdominal pain, actually, some people even have increased brain pressure sometimes. So,
Wow.
over time, taking these things in large quantities, I mean, taking 2, 3 cans a day over a long period of time will cause all these things. Even the heart can begin to have, when the heart is not beating properly. We all know that our heart beats to a certain rhythm, yes? So arrhythmias are when the beats become abnormal. So all those things also happen. So like I've said, it affects the heart, it affects the central nervous system, it affects the GIT. That's where your tummy and all that. So yes, I mean it has quite a few side
Mm.
effects.
Oh, wow. So, but yes, you can take the energy drinks, but be careful. Maybe one a
Yes.
day. Take it as sparingly. So, Auntie Bina, we're not saying don't take them at all. She says even Lucozade boosts.
Like I said, we're not saying don't take them at all. We're saying, as with everything, moderation. Because the
Moderation.
energy drinks, if I'm correct, they contain over 80 milligrams of caffeine a day or whatever. And I think also for adults, you shouldn't be taking more than 400 milligrams. You should take less than 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. So if your average energy drinks contains 80 to 100, you get, and you make a habit of taking more than four, because usually what happens with these things is that for the most part, yes, you have some brands that have increased quantity, but for the most part they're usually about 33 cl thereabouts. So if you really are using it in terms of wanting to get a kick and wanting to be able to be alert and all that, you end up taking more than one usually.
True.
So even if it is less than 400 and you take it every day, the effects will pile up, the effects will
Mm,
accumulate. So that's where
mm.
the danger really is.
And with it also affects the liver because the liver is the one that's saddled with cleaning out the system.
Oh yes, yes. I mean, like the liver is the one that is saddled with the responsibility of removing toxins and all that from your body. So yes, the effect it's like the effect all over the body. To be honest,
All over the body, to be honest.
yes.
Energy
If you look
drink.
at it holistically, effects all over the body, because by the time your liver is functioning to remove toxins all the time, you can't sleep. Your heart is not beating properly. Your heart is not beating properly, and then with all of
Energy
this, you have mood swings, and then you can have raised intracranial pressure, and then even sometimes Eventually, it leads to sometimes jerking in some people, especially when they have withdrawal, when they're trying to stop, they get jerking and all that. So eventually, there is a small contribution, you know, in all over the body.
Somebody
There's
says
a small contribution to the side effects all over of the side effects
all
all
over
over the
the
body.
body.
Yes.
And Kina says, I will jump and pass going forward. Really, if you can avoid it, if you can avoid it, you are better with it. If you
Yes.
can get your system working on its own, the
Yes.
for me, one of the things I learned from you, Dammy, one of the health talks. I know that you are big in health talks, communal health talks, and we've gone on a few together. One thing I hear you say each time is know your body.
Yes. You
For
have to know
everything
your
on this
numbers.
call, know your body, know your numbers. And when you know your body, you just know when it is. You can't work 24 hours a day. Even
No.
God rested. So why won't you rest? I know that we all are pressed for time. We want to work long hours, we want to get so many things done, but it's time to learn to prioritize. You don't have to be everything to everybody. You are not God. That's one thing Bishop Mike taught me. So one of the days I was getting worked up and I was trying to say, Yomi, calm down. You are not God. And it hits me. You are not El Shaddai. You can't be everything to everybody. You need to get to that point where you can slow down. Know when you need to sleep. Know when you need to
Yes.
just lounge. Just enjoy. Life is not hard. Let's learn to enjoy it. And Yami, talking about community health now, I want to take you back to the issues that concern us in the basic areas of life. A lot of us here have aged parents and you want to keep them going, particularly in this time of COVID-19. We can't be like ostriches putting our head in the sand. COVID-19 is real. Is there any limit to trying to boost immunity? So we're taking vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E. We're looking for zinc. Well, is there any limit to this thing, or we just keep taking it all in a bid to avoid COVID-19?
Okay, so like I said last week, everything is best when you consult your doctor. The reason being, so you can actually take multivitamins, like you're saying for aged people and all. They can actually take multivitamins to perpetuate it. However, it depends on the dose. So a lot of these multivitamins and all, they are supposed to be used in the body. The external ones, our body makes some of them, but the external ones, they're supposed to be taken in small quantities. So you find a lot of the brands have, you see them write mcg, micrograms. That is much less than a gram. So these quantities, I mean, like they accumulate in your body and they don't give you problems. But again, you have to know which one is safe for you to continue to use, which one is not safe for you to continue to use. So
So
there are
you have to
some of them
talk to your
that
doctor
are safe
again.
to continually use. Yes, but not everything is safe to continually use. So I would say in the case of aged people, most of the time, by the time people are in their 60s, 70s, they already have a regular doctor's appointment. At the risk of trying to sound like, everybody is going to be ill. No, I don't believe everybody's going to be ill, but everybody, like I said, needs to get at least one health check a year. And from that, different things can be discovered. So by the time people are 60 and over, usually they would have discovered one thing or the other, even if it is the need for them to take some particular vitamins rather that are absent, or that they're deficient in. There'll be something. So my take is see your doctor regularly. If your doctor gives you a 3-month appointment, 6-month appointment, and again, a lot of these appointments, it's not like the doctors also want you to be coming in every week, every 2 weeks. Sometimes you get to see them only twice a year. You get a 6-month appointment for something in particular. So if it is like the multivitamins and all, the doctor can just tell you to come every 6 months. So for aged people, it's best for them to go to their doctor as well. They can continue using the multivitamins, but it's best with a doctor's prescription. Like I said, the body changes. So
Hmm.
today you may have a vitamin D deficiency. It may be corrected. By the next time you go, there's no vitamin D deficiency. There's no reason for you to continue using vitamin D supplements. So the
Hmm.
doctor takes that out. The doctor may need to put you on zinc or something. And after a while, doctor realizes that, okay, there's no need for this. So they're not things that you just use in
Hmm.
perpetuity without consultation. I'm aware that there are some brands that have age on them. So they tell
Hmm.
you this is for people in their
Yeah.
40s, this is for
Yeah.
people in their 50s, this is for those in
Is
who have reached menopause or whatever. At the end of the day, while you can buy those off the shelf, but if you have a regular doctor's appointment, you can just speak to your doctor about it. It's not something that you have to essentially wait for your doctor to recommend, to be honest. But it's good to just get the input of your doctor with regards to all those things.
get the input of your doctor with regards to all these things. Now, a good question on the floor. We talked about knowing your numbers. What are the basic numbers everybody must know?
Oh, fantastic. Basic numbers. You must know your blood pressure. You must keep a tab on your weight. Know your blood pressure, your blood sugar. Your blood pressure usually is the most significant thing for adults. But you must know your blood pressure, you must know your blood sugar levels, and then you must keep a tab on your weight. Those three things. So your weight, I mean, your height at some point will be constant, but your weight can fluctuate. So you then know there's something we call the body mass index that tells you how heavy you should be or how much weight you should have for a certain height, and it has its own health, you know, implications. So when you know that, you can keep a tab on it. So again, by the time you go to your doctor, you've done your weight height. Most of the time, doctors also counsel. So they'll have told you, oh, madam, you need to lose 10 kg, you need to lose 20 kg. But keeping a tab on your weight helps you to realize that it's either you're doing well in that direction or you're not doing so well. And then that helps you to modify your diet and your lifestyle. So that way you add exercise, you modify what you're eating. And then your blood pressure, yes. A lot of people don't know they have blood pressure issues. They don't know that they are hypertensive. And sometimes this is why we hear people collapse and they go on to be with their maker. So your blood pressure is very, very, very important to keep it tab on. Blood pressure and hypertension and diabetes, that is increased blood pressure and increased blood sugar, they are sort of twins. They tend to go hand in hand. So you need to keep a tab on your blood sugar as well, especially as you grow older. So those are the main numbers that you need to know. It's not like you don't need to know others, but the ones that you must have off the top of your head, you must know. So my thing is, I always tell people that I talk to, especially if you've just been newly diagnosed as being hypertensive, or you've gone to the hospital, your BP is, is not constant, it's going up. Have a diary. Just take a log. Record your BP over time. And as time goes on, whether you're hypertensive and your medication and your blood pressure has stabilized or whatever, you have a diary, you know. So last week I checked my BP, it was 120/80. This week I checked my BP is 190/100. I'm wondering what happened to me. I see my doctor. Okay, let's check it again. And it goes back to 120. So it tells me that there must have been an event. Something must have happened. So, those are the reasons why you need to know.
So that means they're telling me that we should have in our homes a machine to check your blood pressure.
Ideally.
And it's actually available. It's not expensive.
It is. It's not too expensive. It's available in pharmacies and all. But then again, you also get, so for those who cannot readily afford, you also get some pharmacies that when you go to buy medication, they actually put the sign and say, get a free BP check. So for every time you can avail yourself of that opportunity, please do. So you go into your doctor's office, of course, they'll measure your BP. The thing is to ask, doctor, please, what was my BP? And then have it down somewhere. You go to the pharmacy and you can locate those areas around where you live. There'll be a pharmacy or two that does that. And sometimes if it's really if it's something that you need to check all the time and all, you can actually go to a primary health center. Primary health centers are available in every local government. So you can go to a primary health center and they can also help you there.
Wow, thank you very much. So you can actually go to a primary health center and they can help you. So your numbers, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your weight. I was smiling, I was giggling when you talked about BMI. Because for almost the average African on BMI, they also say you are high, you are on the obese. But we want to look chubby, we don't want to look that slim thing BMI recommends. So we want to just look a little bit on the big
Yes,
side.
I know. I know, but Sometimes you need to be able to gauge and ask yourself, what is more beneficial to me at this point? Sometimes you actually find, you said just now that most people are overweight. Sometimes we get people who are underweight on BMI. So that's the fantastic thing about checking it. Yes, I know. It seems like most of us are overweight, right? Some of us
Yeah.
are underweight. But for those of us who are overweight, it's good to keep checking and keep modifying. It's a journey, because even when you do lose the weight, you still need to keep it up. So yes, you may want to look a little plump and all, but as long as you're within a healthy range for you, then that is fine.
Okay. Thank you very much. As long as you're within a healthy range, that is fine. I said I won't take too much of your time today. And again, we've clocked 20 minutes, but we're getting so much from you. We're going to be talking next about menopause. Somebody had asked last week and said, please talk about menopause. Now, what I asked you behind the scene, and I'm going to ask you again. Women talk about menopause. Is there anything like that for men?
No. Women have that one. we,
Only
we,
women.
we have that one. Yes, we just,
Ah,
that's our
ah.
thing.
Okay, but before we talk about menopause, that's our thing. I have a question on weight. So, what do I do if my weight is hereditary? Now, that's the question. Is there anything like hereditary weight?
Yes, I won't say hereditary, genetic constitution.
Genetic
So
constitution.
yes, you may have people who are on the big side. Sometimes it's not even the fat content. Sometimes it's bone. So sometimes it's the bone density. Sometimes people have, big bones and all. So yes, but for those ones that, I just said something about being in the range. BMI usually is a range. So the thing with it is, you want to keep yourself as healthy as possible. So what you do is you're monitoring your weight. Again, like I said, you've gone for a health check. I'm assuming, let's say that you've gone for a health check. You now know what your healthy weight should be. You try and keep yourself in that, even if your weight is hereditary. What happens with it, or rather passed on, you have traits, genetic traits. What happens with that is sometimes we just let go. I think, oh no, my grandmother is really, she's plump, she's chubby. My parents, so please, what's going, that's the same. It's like that's my destiny, that kind of thing. And we just tend to leave it off. No. So the ideal is not to leave it off.
Hmm. But somebody is
Just keep
asking,
keep going, keep trying.
somebody said, what's the ideal weight?
So it also depends on your height.
Mm-hmm.
With regards to BMI, I can't give you a particular weight now, but it also depends on your height.
Yeah. So, body mass index is a function of your height and your weight.
I do weight.
One of the things you can do readily, if you go to any of those pharmacies or health center, get your height, get your weight, and even on your
Yeah,
phone, there are apps that you can just readily calculate your
your
BMI.
BMI, and it will tell you whether you are in the healthy range or not.
Mm, okay. So let's, because we need to round off. I know your time is, I'm eating up on your time. We need to talk about menopause. Talk to me. What about the, okay, so men don't have it. It's okay. Life is not fair. God is God. But we are proud to be women and we're excited to be women. So
We are
what's
very
menopause
special.
about? We're special people. So what's
Sorry, please
menopause
go.
about?
Okay, so menopause is that time in a woman's life where she stops menstruating completely. As we know, the menstrual cycle is something that happens from puberty up until, you know, that menopause. So
Okay.
menopause is when you don't see your period for 12 months, consistently for 12 months, 1 year, no period, no bleeding every month, consistently. That is menopause. There's a time called perimenopause, which is the time around or just before menopause where the bleeding comes and goes. It's not regular. For those who have had regular periods before, it's not regular anymore. And usually it's age related. So the average age in Nigeria for menopause is between 46 and 51. But usually it's women, yeah, from 46 to 51. But usually, like in America, it's from 51. So generally, women expect to be in menopause from the time they're 50. 50 upwards.
Okay. So
So
in menopause,
that
are there medications to take? Are there supplements to take to support yourself in that period?
so
Post
menopause, the thing with menopause really is, so what has happened is that your estrogen levels have reduced. And estrogen is responsible for a lot of things in the body. So I'll first of all just quickly say that the apart from no blood coming every month, some of the things that will happen with menopause is hot flushes, um, of course, some weight gain, mood swings, you know, vaginal dryness, and stuff like that. So it's not like there are medications to take per se. It depends on how the symptoms are. Some women don't have really horrible symptoms and they can just glide over. For some, it's just the hot flushes. Once you know that you have a fan wherever you're going to, you try and make sure that you stay where, the heat is not too much. You try and manage depending on the symptoms. So for a lot of people, you really don't need to take medication. It's when the effects are very severe, like women that, their mood is so affected or they cannot sleep or, the bones become so brittle and all. But it's really when most of the time the treatment is, it's like, oh, okay, the symptoms are really severe. But for most women, they just manage with non-pharmacologic means, like I said, non-drug means. So for the mood swings, some people have learned to meditate and keep their moods, how do I put
right.
it? Not constant is not the word, but good moods, keep themselves in good moods, like I said, windows, fans, ACs, things to keep your body cool when you're feeling hot. And sometimes when you recognize that you're going to have a temper flare up, you can just leave the scene of whatever is causing you irritation, you know. And then for the sleep, you may try to spend a longer time sleeping, because what may happen is that you may have early insomnia, meaning that you may not be able to sleep early and then you get into the sleep and then before you know it's time to wake up. So maybe you try and sleep earlier so that you can, combat that.
Go back
So
then.
really it's not like there is medication for when it's severe, but it's not like it's standard practice to just put a woman on medication just because she's menopause.
So again, in menopause is about knowing your body and knowing
Yes.
how to adapt. So a lot of these things, I'm listening to you since last weekend now, I'm saying to myself, God is actually awesome. He put us in a position where if we know our body, we can maneuver through those things without strictly putting ourselves on medication or on the poisons, like you said last week. So it's a call for everybody on this call, and also tell everybody let's learn to know our body. How do we respond to things? When you know your body, then you know what to do. I want to take you back again. There's a question on weight loss. Somebody said, is it advisable using portions and pills to lose weight?
Portions and pills to lose weight. I would definitely not recommend it. Again, like I said, that will have to do with the dietitians. Your doctor may recommend something but hardly, it's not something that a doctor will say, oh, for you to lose weight, use this or use that. Usually what we do is we counsel people. So it's not about using pills or potions. For weight loss, like we've said, know your body. For most of us, we realize that we gain a lot of weight when we eat a lot. For some of us, when we eat in the night, I was talking a to a cousin and he was telling me, oh, that he knows that he adds a lot of weight when he eats a lot in the night. So some of us know. I will not recommend pills and potions because again, you're not going to use those pills and potions for the rest of your life. I know that there are so many aids out there, but you're not going to use those pills and potions for the rest of your life. What I would recommend is a lifestyle change. Okay,
Hmm.
so speak to a dietitian, speak to your doctor, get a lifestyle change. Okay, there are different diets that people can go on, which is what I was saying. Maybe the doctor can say, oh, you can go on a diet, you can, depending on what kind of doctor they are. Again, you have dietitians, you have some other doctors that are interested in nutrition and all that. So you can get advice from them on what kinds of foods you can eat, what kinds of foods to stay away from, what kinds of diets you can be on. But you see, even with the diets, they're not forever therapies. So the main thing is lifestyle change, lifestyle modification. So you add exercise, you remove. I'm not going to have a Coke every day and think I'm going to be slim. You know, I'm not going to have. Yes. While I will not say, oh, I'm definitely not going to have any, everything must be done in moderation. I can't constantly eat fatty foods and think that I'm going to be slim. And then I also need to exercise because your body needs to, move. And then your muscles will begin to burn the fat and all that. So that really is dynamic. It's not about potions and pills. It's about, lifestyle modification, a change in your diet, and getting some good exercise.
Dammy, let me take you back on this. Somebody had said to me once, when you're approaching menopause, your metabolic rate slows down. So I can take some pills, some portions to increase my metabolism so I can burn more fat.
I'm shaking my head no. No. Yes, metabolism can reduce because of estrogen, lower estrogen, and which is why, like I said, some people gain weight. So eat less, exercise more, take more fruits and vegetables, as against having a meal that is heavy
That's
in
what
carbohydrates, heavy in fats. You
that's
can
what they
have
want to hear. Eat
lean
less.
protein. You can have lean proteins. So, the thing with it though is it's even what you eat. You will still be full, your tummy will still be full, but it's what you eat. So, as against having one mountain of eba and very little soup, I can have a big bowl of vegetable and very small eba, and my vegetable can be oilless, have some fish and stuff in it, and I'm fine. I don't have to go eating all the organ meat, all the things we like to eat now. Yoruba people say orishirishi. No. So you have to modify the things you're eating. If I have a really nice bowl of salad with some chicken in, lean, no skin, honestly, they're not as boring as they sound.
They are boring. Salads, all
They're not as
green.
boring as they sound. Because the thing about it is that, for instance, now, like I said, you can still eat your eba, you can still eat your amala, but very small quantity and make the soup much more. And then don't douse the soup with so much oil. Some of us like to cook and then we like to see the oil floating on top of it with all the rich
Yeah.
dishes popping out. No. At
Yes.
that
You know what I
point,
mean?
no. Much less oil. In fact, as oilless cooking as possible. And,
Wow.
lean meats, lean cuts of meat. Chicken, no skin, reduced beef, more fish, and not the oily fish. I mean, Titus is the one we call that's a mackerel, I think. Yes, it's very good, but it contains a lot of omega-3 and all that. But it's different from catfish. Catfish, even when you cook it, you see all the oil everywhere. So you avoid things like that. So it's actually being deliberate in the choice of what you're eating and how much you're eating. But it's not
Wow.
as boring as it sounds.
Wow. Auntie Binta put it so well. So you are what you eat. And that is it. QED. So true. You are what you eat. You talked about lean meat, lean meat, lean meat. Somebody says, what is lean meat?
Lean meat is meat that has all the fat cut out of it. So like I said, chicken no skin. There are some portions of meat that you see that that this meat has a lot of fat in it.
Yeah.
No, not those parts. Those ones that are beef, pure and simple beef. So
Wow.
yes, if you go to the butchers and all, in some places, even in some supermarkets, I'm not going to mention brands, you actually see them lean this, lean that. You can actually find them.
So true. The bottom line of public health is know your numbers, lifestyle change, check out with your doctors as often as they want you to come. Please go. On a final note, someone says, is lean meat same as red meat?
Okay, so red meat is just by the color red meat, yes, but You can have lean cuts of red meat. So red meat is the meat by the color, mainly cow meat, goat, all those meats that are red, you know, just by the color. But the lean one is the ones that do not have fat. So you can have lean red meat, lean
Wow.
white meat.
I think at this rate, I'm going to have a dietitian come on the show one of these days
Oh, that
to
would be
come
great.
to us about what to eat, because we are
That
actually
would be
what
great.
we eat. Thank you so much, Dammy, for being on this show for these 2 weeks. It's been amazing talking to you. I thought today we just do 15 minutes and we are out, but again, we've done 35 minutes. Thank you so much. So let me take the final word from you on public health.
Okay, so the final word for me with regards to our health generally is, like you said, know your numbers. Don't be afraid to talk to your doctor. Get a health check every year, at least once a year, and modify your lifestyle. Know yourself, know your numbers, modify your lifestyle as needed.
Thank you so much, Dammy. I appreciate you. Of course, like I always tell everybody that comes on this show, I will come again. It's been a long talk on drug abuse, but there's so many other areas of public health we didn't touch. Some other time we'll come back to it. But I want to say thank you on behalf of the Knox to Nuggets family. Thank you so much for coming. God bless
Thank you
you.
so much for having me. God bless you.
Wow, that was exhaustive. We can't really finish that topic on drug abuse and on health. But I'm so glad to say that next week, Monday, we'll be having in the house. Now, this excited me. I was wondering who to bring in to come talk to us about health insurance. And then he came up and he agreed to come. So talking about health insurance next week, Monday, with Mr. Obinaya Abajue, is the CEO of IGEA. If somebody knows about health insurance, he knows it. So put all your questions together. How can we access health at the cheapest way? HMOs, are they really working? Do I need an HMO at all? Must I have an HMO? Can I not just go to the health center and manage my health? Any question you have about HMO, Obinaya will just be there to answer you. Next week, Monday, we'll be talking about health insurance with Obinaya Abajue. But until next week, Monday, don't forget it. If you can think it, you can be it, you can have it. It's all about you. Whatever you think you can or you think you cannot do, you are right. Put it to work today. Beware of your numbers. If you don't know your numbers yet, please visit a pharmacy close to you, a hospital close to you, a primary health center close to you. Get to know what your blood pressure is, what your uh, uh, blood sugar level is, what your BMI is, what your height, what's your weight, and they'll compute it for you. Know your numbers, know your body, be the best you can be, and never forget it. Together, we win. See you next week, Monday. Don't forget, like the video, share it, let somebody know about Nugs to Nuggets through you. And I also want to read from you. God bless you. Have a glorious week ahead. See you next week, Monday.